All right, so we are now live. So we'll wait for some people to come on. I'm gonna look over here and see what I see on my channel to make sure that everything is working properly. Okay, I don't see it yet. Hmm. I Now I'm wondering if I did something wrong because I don't see it on my live. Oh, okay. It is showing up right here. Okay, so it is. It's showing up now. I need to change the thumbnail though.
Okay.
Let's see. Hey, Stephanie, how you doing? Hey, Stephanie says I'm here. She said, "Hey,
Hey,
Melissa,
Stephanie.
how you
Thanks
doing,
for
lady? Thank
joining.
you for joining us. I think you're going to really enjoy today's topic. Hi, Misha.
Hi,
Hi,
Misha.
how are you? Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Um, I don't know what I can you guys hear me? If you can you just put a J if you guys can hear me okay? I know that Millie can hear me well, but I'm not sure if you guys are hearing me okay. And how is the stream? Am I buffering? Am I okay? I'm on here. I'm about to change my. Ooh, gosh! Everybody just popped up all at once. Hi, Kimmy. Hello, Andrea. Hey, JJ. Hey, good. You guys can hear me good. Very
Did I
good.
say the Lord was gonna come through?
You did say that. They just popped up out of nowhere. I was like, whoa. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be on here. I have been intending on, you're good. I can see and hear you good.
Hey,
Um,
Susan.
Hi, Susan. I have been intending on coming back on here and doing lives again, but life has happened for real. And so um who was able to get me back up on live? Nobody but Miss Melissa here. So for all of you guys who are you don't know who I am Wani. My channel is Wani's House. I have been an influencer on here now for like 8 years, I believe, and I do everything. And so you might see me doing fashion, lifestyle, hauls, decorating, entertaining. And so we're going to add something else to the things that I like to do because I like to be real. I bring you things that are real, things that I think that you're going to enjoy. And so this young lady right here, Miss Melissa, is the one who came to me with this and she was like, "Miss Wani, what do you think about this idea I had?" Now, I'm gonna tell you what her idea was. Well, no, actually, I'm gonna let Miss Melissa introduce herself, and then she will tell you her idea.
First and foremost, I would like to take the time to thank our wonderful host, Miss Wani. I came to her with this idea, I think it was around Valentine's Day. And I was like, listen, I've been reading this book. It's good. Like, you should be reading this book. It's called Getting to I Do by, let me see the name of the author. The name
Dr.
of the
Patricia
author,
Allen.
yes, Dr. Patricia Allen. And so the premise of the book is basically how to get the modern woman to the point of being able to get married and become a wife, and if that's what she so desires. So essentially, the idea of the book is that with the advent of modern feminism and everything like that, you know, the boss bees and everything like that, that women have been slowly but surely making decisions that have been moving them further and further away from marriage, if that's what their desire is. And so what she's done is she's taken her years and years of research, some of with her own personal experience and some with other people that she's worked with. She's helped over 2,000 women get married. I know that's a lot of women. So she's been able to break it down into a science to be able to help women get from single to dating, to successfully date, and then getting to the altar to say I do. And so that's the book. I told Miss Wani, when you get this book, don't read it late at night. You will be up. You will keep Mr. B up all night trying to read this book. I listen, it's a really good read, and she can attest to it. I believe you said that you're in the introduction now, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And it's riveting.
It is so good. Okay, so this is a thing now because I am Generation X. I think most of us might be like either baby boomers, Generation X, or whatever the case may be. Um, Melissa is, what are you? Are you Gen Z? What are you? Millennial?
Literally, I'm Gen Z. I literally, the cutoff for millennial is 95, and I was born in
Mhm.
96.
Oh, so you right there. So you only have a touch of crazy.
Yeah, I'm with the people. Somehow I made it in with the people with the little hoverboards and the cinnamon
Yes,
challenges and eating Tide Pods. So I
yes,
ended up with them.
yes, them. Andre, you're Gen X also. Yes, so when Gen Z wants to thinks that this Gen X here is cool and was like, Miss Warney, uh, you need to read this book, and I would love for you to do this with me. And I was like, no, I don't know. But I said, let me see the book. Let's see the book. And this book here, it is so good. Okay. So how I thought that it would be relatable, like I was telling Melissa, is that not only because reading, and we're going to read the forward to you guys, and you guys are going to see how good this book is simply by the forward. But this book is also great for those who are divorced and you're about to enter the dating pool again. It is good for if you're married and you want to, sometimes marriages get stale. I said to Millie, the title is Getting to I Do, but I was like, but you're going to see Getting to I Do is easy almost. It's staying with I Do. And so that is also great for that. It's also for those who are, this new time that we are in now, dating is totally different. We've spoken about that several times here on my chapter. On my channel, where, back in the day, we would go and you might meet somebody in the club, you might meet somebody at the church, you might meet somebody at a park, you might meet somebody at a party or something. None of those are the cases right now. And so, but this, even with this book right here, I think Millie, she touches on like kind of current type dating also. So I think that it would be very helpful and beneficial all across the board to regardless of what type of relationship you are currently in, And if you're just newly trying to get out there again, you have anything you want to add?
So I know there were some questions about what the book cover looks like. This is what the book cover looks like. I did send Miss Wani the link. We have a link so that you guys can easily go to Amazon and be able to purchase it yourselves. That way, when we come back next week and we actually get into the meat and potatoes, everybody's ready. And I'm gonna be honest, I can't say I didn't warn you. It's good. It's good, good.
It's good, good. Hi, Beaudry.
Hey, Beaudry.
Hello. Hi, Beaudry. And we have Andrea. She said she's Gen X too. Stephanie was laughing. She said a touch of crazy with you being millennial Gen X, Gen Z. Okay, so she said, show the book again, please.
Okay, so this is what the cover of the book looks like. Hopefully I'm not getting too much glare here.
You're good.
There we go. And as I said a second ago, Miss Wani has the link and she's definitely going to post it. That way you guys can easily find it on Amazon, and then we can get started together, honestly. But as I said before, don't say I didn't warn you.
Yes. Yes. Don't say that, yes, because it is really good. So what I wanted to do was we're gonna begin reading the forward just to pique your interest, so that you can really understand the background of the author and her storytelling and how she broke down the book.
Okay. So the forward. The women's liberation movement changed my life. Before I read Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique, I perceived myself as normal, middle class, traditional. I perceived myself as a normal, middle class, traditional Iowan wife and mother of four, who also taught art and social studies at a local junior high school. But looking back, I realized I was totally without a sense of my own rights as a human being. My husband, a high school social studies teacher and athletic coach, whom I married when I was 19 and he was 21, controlled every penny that we both brought home. He even did the grocery shopping. Incredible as it seems, he gave me only a quarter a day, which I kept in my loafer because I didn't own a purse, with which I was to buy my lunch, a 15-cent salad in the school cafeteria's discount price, and a 10-cent Fresca. Most of the time, however, I used a quarter to buy stale donuts at the bakery thrift store next to the school. The result was a steady gain in weight until I peaked at 205 pounds. One day, a woman teacher at my school who felt sorry for me gave me a copy of The Feminine Mystique, which I devoured. This book made me understand that many women like myself lived under the control of much less gifted men. It also showed me how much I needed help. I entered therapy and quickly began to bloom as an individual. I lost weight and became interested in clothes and makeup. I decided to go back to school to get my PhD so I could become a psychotherapist and help others like myself. I had hoped my husband would be proud of the changes I was making in my life, but I soon discovered that independence, individuality, and good looks were not the qualities he wanted or valued in a wife. As I grew thinner, more attractive, and more able to voice my beliefs, he grew more angry and less interested in me sexually, until soon he was totally turned off. I immersed myself in the study of human behavior. With each new class and counseling group I attended, I found myself trying to find answers to the problem of how I could successfully combine my marriage and my career. But before I could find any solutions, my husband walked out on me. Alone for the first time in my life, I was forced to make a living, handle money, raise 4 daughters, finish graduate school, and begin to build a therapy practice. I was also on the lookout for a new husband, one who would accept me as I wanted to be, both married and successful. A few months after my divorce, I met a ruggedly handsome, out of work cowboy who soon asked me to marry him. My family liked him, and my children were thrilled. I was thrilled to get the offer, so of course I accepted. The first few months we were together were wonderful, except for the fact that my new husband didn't like living in my ex-husband's house with my ex-husband's furniture. So because he was broke and I had good credit, I bought us, in order to please him, a new house, 10 rooms of furniture, 5 thoroughbred horses, and a Harley Davidson motorcycle. I was thrilled when he finally got a job, but then 6 months later at a Christmas party, he got into a fight with his boss and was fired. The next day, right before I left for school, he announced he was going home to his mother's ranch. I assumed he was joking. But later that evening, when I returned home, I caught what turned out to be my last glimpse of him, driving away in a large moving van with all of my furniture. Naturally, he had taken the 5 horses. I,
I know that
the
part.
horses too. I never saw him, the horses, or the furniture again. A few months later, I lost my house, got high blood pressure, and had to file for bankruptcy. I soon met another man who seemed to be just what I needed after the cowboy. He was loving, gentle, and rich. He didn't work because he didn't have to. He came from a fine old family and even owned a yacht. I figured he was as far away from the cowboy as I could get. Once again, I married soon after I met my hero, and once again things seemed fine at first. My husband loved me and my children, and not only did he pay all the bills, he was generous as well. Living with him made me feel secure. But then, about a year after we married, he began to complain about feeling lonely at home while I was pursuing my career. Although I felt guilty, knowing I did put my work ahead of our marriage, I refused to give up. I wanted equality, just as the women's movement had promised me. I tried hard to make the relationship work, but once again, I just couldn't seem to balance my marriage and my career. And after 3 years, we divorced. I was beginning to wonder whether marriage and a career fulfillment were compatible. Instead of, where'd I go? Oh, instead of love, equality seemed to lead me to conflict and confusion. I observed that as women got stronger and became more quote unquote male, men became intimidated and more quote unquote female, reluctant to make a commitment and take on the responsibility for an independent woman who could leave him at will. These men still wanted a traditional, controllable, docile woman, not a quote unquote women's liber. Certainly, most of the men I met as a single woman were either intimidated by my success or wanted me to take care of them. The rest just avoided me. My daughters were having as much trouble as I was. As they reached maturity, they too couldn't find mates who could or would accept their having a career and the time it took away from them. 3 of my daughters went to school for degrees and became professionals, while the fourth got married and had a baby. The career oriented daughters envied the one with the husband and the child, and she envied the education of the other 3. After I divorced my third husband, I stayed single for the next 18 years and dated a variety of men, all whom taught me something I needed to learn. In 1981, I earned my doctorate in psychology in the area of communication techniques. As a transactional analyst, I had studied the meaning and intent behind the words people use to communicate with one another. Soon I saw a way to simplify and package communication techniques that my clients could easily use to negotiate better relationships. This technique, which I called semantic realignment, and which became my doctoral dissertation, it was a way to apply consistent logical principles within a carefully worked out system. By clarifying and applying the decision making process, teaching individual men and women how to speak and argue, rationally and pragmatically establish a system of complementary communication. As an intern, I was required to run groups to demonstrate my skills. I began conducting once a week relationship seminars in the rec center of a local high school. My goal was to gather data and share it with as many people as I could. Week after week, I listened to men and women who were in emotional torment over the confusion of male and female roles. I heard men complain of being smothered by women who pursued them or of feeling rejected by women who didn't. They told me they felt thwarted from expressing their naturally male generosity when the women picked up the tab. They asked what they were to do about a woman who asked them out and then expected them to pay. How were they supposed to, quote unquote, respect her, quote unquote, male qualities and then, quote unquote, cherish her female ones as well? Women, on the other hand, would complain of and doubt the manhood of men who wouldn't ask for sex. Some women refused sex until a quote unquote commitment was made, only to see a man walk out before a relationship could be established. Other women fell in love, had sex, and expected a commitment to follow, only to find that the man had no intentions of making one. On every level, there was a concern about commitment. It was clear to me that women becoming so male that men saw them as quote unquote one of the guys who would share money and genitals without a commitment. There was suspicion as well. Women complained that men, with their newly found quote unquote sensitivity, talked about how they felt but were not willing to listen to how the woman felt. Whereas previously we had assumed our traditional male/female roles, males provided and females nested. We now expected everything of our mates and consequently got little but disappointment. It was in this setting that I began to build my relationship theories of male and female roles. Can a woman combine a career and marriage? How much independence and responsibility is good or bad in an intimate relationship? I became fascinated by the work of Dr. Carl Jung, the brilliant Swiss analyst who believed that not only did each man and woman carry some of the hormones of the opposite sex, he or she also carried the personality characteristics of the opposite sex. He said men had a feminine side, which he called the anima, that helped them either love or binge on women. And women had a masculine side, their animus, that helped them to be either strong and self loving or angry and self destructive. Today, this dualistic concept is called androgyny. I became determined to find out how people could balance their positive feminine and masculine sides and avoid the negative misuse of their animus or anima. Using Jung's theories as a base, I developed a theory and strategy of accommodation to help men and women balance their feminine and masculine sides in an equitable exchange that did not conflict, allowing them to share their gifts equitably as a couple. I distilled my research and passed it on to my clients in a round robin process, in therapy as well as in my weekly seminars. Finally, I had reached my goal of assisting people in the total development of their potential physical, mental, and physically, mentally, and emotionally. And at the same time, teaching them to communicate with each other in a way that would allow them to live lives of autonomy, creativity, and spontaneity. Once word got around that I could actually help men and women to communicate with each other and meet and marry successfully, the waiting rooms in my therapy offices in Los Angeles and Newport Beach, California, have rarely been empty. Two, my weekly ceremonies, which are now held in large theaters, are filled with standing room only crowds of people, many of whom are the most beautiful and successful women in Los Angeles, including some of Hollywood's brightest stars, top filmmakers, and powerful executives, all successful males in the office or on the set, yet not. Huh?
Go ahead. No, someone said stop reading and talk about it. We're going to talk about it. That's just this is just the forward. So we're almost done. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. They come to my seminars, listen to my radio show, and have made my self-help tapes bestsellers. Of course, newspapers and magazines have published articles on me, calling me the love doctor or relationship guru, and I have appeared on many major TV shows. From a vantage point of 20 years, I see the results of my relationship work in thousands of men and women who attend my seminars and experiment and explore until they have found their own way of using these teachings. They become better skilled in loving and relating. More than 2,000 couples have married and stayed together through the use of my techniques. It happened to me too. One evening, a very delightful man came to one of my seminars. He kept coming back and we got to know each other. Over the next 3 years, he used the information he learned at these groups to court me. In 1990, we married. My 3 single daughters, who of course at first discounted my information because I was mom, later used it and married wonderful men. Now I want all of you to achieve the same fulfillment that we have. With my co-author, Sandra Harmon, I have in this book synthesized all the research and experience of my 20 years of practice as a marriage counselor and family and child therapist and transactional analyst. Because mine is a new and different way of looking at relationships, my rules of behavior may anger some people, but I can't help that. The rules still work. My system is not complex, but it does answer the needs of the individuals who live in a complex world. What I am advocating is that you be able to make educated choices in the areas of relationships and career, combining these to suit your own specific needs. I wish to thank the many people who have contributed in their own way to this book. First and foremost, I want to thank my co-author, Sandra Harmon. I think as of now, it's just kind of thanking people.
Okay.
But this is the last part that I think that would be good to read.
Mm-hmm.
My promise to you is that after applying the information you learned from reading this book, you will, one, evolve and balance your masculine and feminine energy. Two, be able to attract, observe, and evaluate your potential mate's inner balance and marriageability. And three, have the communication skills to negotiate a sound engagement and marry within 1 year.
All right. Thank you, Melissa. So listening to the foreword that was read, and you get the author's backstory, and you see how it took her 4 marriages to kind of get it right. And so she gives you her backstory of her research. So this isn't someone just telling you things. She's gone off of research that she's done, experiences, and how both men and female, male and female, interact with each other and working with counterparts. I'm sorry. So one thing that I thought that was very, very interesting, and why I thought that this book was a great read and a great discussion piece, was because we people are along on regarding like relationships and dating. Everybody can relate, regardless if you're divorced and you're newly out there dating, you are a young person trying to figure it out, and trying to figure out what you like, what you don't like, and or if you're someone who's currently married, and the person who you married 20 years ago definitely is not the same person today, and you can still use some of these techniques to, one, not only learn yourself over, because we are constantly evolving. You can learn different things about yourself, but you can apply some of the applications, and to kind of see how you can learn your mate again, learn yourself again. And sometimes, and if you have been in a relationship or a marriage for a long period of time, and now you find yourself out there or not, sometimes you can lose who you are and lose your sense of self. So I thought that this, when Melissa brought this to me, I was like, this would be a great topic to talk about. I like to bring things to you that I think are interesting, that are real, that we can discuss. And even from the point of what we talked about tonight, for example, her first husband. So obviously, when she was talking about this, wait, I need to get on this because this is on my screen. Flounery, they had a comment. Those are not our stories as Black women. When you say that, what is not our stories? I know Black women who have been successful in their careers, had to have a career, had to take care of kids, and when they got to a certain status or whatever, their mate still expected them to come home, cook, and still be the same person. I've known Black women who ascended and went on and got higher education. Their mates didn't, and they outgrew their mates, and their mate became resentful. That was part of her story. I've known Black women, or like you say, Black women who have married successful men, and were asked to stop their career to be able to live the life that their successful rich mate wanted them to live. That may have not necessarily been their dream. That was his dream. Her dream was to have her career. So I'm not quite sure about those are not our stories. I totally disagree with that, because every story that she gave for herself, I can tell you at least 3 Black women who have been a part of those types of journeys. So I totally disagree with that. Um, I mean that being an enslaved people, we are not. No. She says, I mean that being an enslaved people, we are not into feminism.
I mean, just to get in there a little bit, actually, at the advent of the feminist movement, you had authors like Audre Lorde and other women of the such who were at the forefront of the Black women's liberation movement. So, definitely not trying to get into the weeds here because that's not the point of this. But then also just bringing other statistics like this: 3 in 4 Black women will never be married in their entire life. So topics that are talked about in this book are immensely important, especially to women like myself who have been taught a certain way, grow up, go to school, get an education, do all of these different things. And actually, this makes me think there is someone, actually a professor that I was speaking to recently, who has a podcast, who actually speaks on topics of the such, who is actually, engrossed into the community as well, who has actually been trying to help coach women in being able to do something similar. So I think he would be a really good person to bring on here to sort of bring his opinion in this. Somebody who has been successfully married for 20 plus years now. And, to a certain extent, his wife has a higher position in where they work than he does. But when she comes home, she quote unquote doesn't bring that into their household. So, having some people that are actually navigating this realm be able to come in and share their experiences as well. So I definitely think that these topics are very, very real and important. And especially because, by the time you're done with your whole educational journey, for the most part, if you do decide to go on into higher education, you're 35, 36, and now you're looking up and looking for where all the eligible men are, and they got married in their 20s. So, these are very important conversations to have. But thank you so much, M. Full. I want to be able to say your name correctly, so I don't want to butcher it. So thank you so much for bringing your opinion here, and looking forward to seeing more of you, hopefully in the next one.
Yes. And I also, to bring the another topic to that, is that when you're Black, so we're going to talk about Black women, although the author is not Black. But when you're talking about, speaking of Black women, and like Melissa said, what were we taught to do? We were taught to go to school, get an education, and began working. And that's what you did. That's what most Black women were taught to do. But now when you're talking about statistics, majority of the Black women are educated. Majority of Black women have bachelor's, master's, and PhDs. Our Black men, they're not on the same level. So we are already unequal. And so we're already entering a relationship where there may be resentment, some jealousies, things like that going on. But like you said with your professor, how you can have such a relationship and still coexist and not have egos at home. We all on the same playing field at home, because there's a lot of us who out there who may bring more money home, or who may have higher titles, or whatever the case may be. So I just think there is a different way and the new way that we are living, especially for Generation X. That's what my mama taught me. Go to school, don't rely on nobody, because in the event, just like our white author here, you're left with 4 kids, you can take care of yourself. And that's the same thing I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys either heard or told your kids, your daughter anyway. So the last thing you want them to do is to have to be out there and in a relationship because they feel like they don't have no other choice.
Mm-hmm. Other
So
topics that are covered in this book is being able to choose right,
choose right.
because also when you look at it from a perspective, I remember I was having a conversation over the weekend with Miss Wani's lovely daughter China and her friend Jordan, and a topic of conversation that was brought up when I mentioned the book was in previous generations, when people took on the more, I guess you'd say, traditional role where the men was where the man was the head and the woman was the neck, that it was used sort of in like an authoritative, like an authoritarian kind of way, to where the woman had no say. They were basically kind of seen, not heard, and everything. And then as I was sitting there and I was listening to it, at the end of the day, it's not like the men back then were out here knocking women over the head and just dragging them home. You know what I'm saying? The woman had to say, I do. So then what that points to me is, in any situation, I cannot control somebody else. The only person I can control is me. So now my question is, how can we choose better as women so that if that's the relationship dynamic that we desire, we can be in it and exist happily within it? And that's actually one of the topics that the book talks about. It talks about the idea, because of the advent of the modern feminist movement, you have every relationship has a feminine aspect and a masculine aspect, right? So now that women have been taking on more traditionally masculine roles, a woman in a relationship can technically be the masculine energy, and her husband can technically be the feminine energy. But what comes with that, if you do want to be your quote unquote boss B, is that he's going to expect you to lead him. He's going to expect you to pay a majority of the bills, and he's going to expect you to do the quote unquote masculine roles, right? But for a lot of women, again, like we were saying in the foreword, women asking men out and then expecting them to pay, because there's been this ambiguity when it's come to roles. People don't know how to navigate anymore. So I think that's another really good thing that is brought up in the book, to the point where it had me like, me looking at the woman in the mirror, because at the end of the day, something that professor that I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna talk to him. He gonna be on this, and I'm gonna speak it into existence now. So, one of the things that he mentioned is that, I was saying that as I was dating, and getting to know men, that there were a lot of men that I was meeting who wanted me to lead them, and then, or like making me feel like I was the man. And so his question was, if you're a fisherman and you don't like the fish that you're getting, you need to look at the bait. How are you advertising yourself? And I was like, that's true, because I'm the only common denominator here.
That's right.
I'm the only woman all these men know. So then it makes me have to look at myself and think about, what am I advertising to these people that I'm looking to as potential mates? I mean, honestly, I'm trying not to give too much away, because I was this book.
yes, because she did. So I want to tell you. So Stephanie said that she was taught to get her I was taught to get my education. My first marriage, I shouldn't have jumped into it. This marriage is 100% better. Yes, because a lot of times, especially when you're young, if you marry young, you still don't know yourself. You don't know yourself. I always say a girl should not get married in her 20s. You don't know who you are. You changing day by day. And so if you get married young, and when you're in your 30s, you are definitely not the same person that you were in your 20s, because you've had some time to experience some things. And so if you look back, that same person, you were like, I wouldn't have never married you. There are some people, that they lucky and they make it through. But some of you was like, oh my goodness, I don't like this. This is not what I would have chosen for myself. So that's how you ask a lot of people, if you had a chance to do it all again, would you get married this young? A lot of them would say no. Stacy says, currently there's a statistic showing that men are staying home as the main caregiver while still working from home, and it's working. Thoughts? What do you think about that?
My thoughts on that. I believe that, let me think about that. Again, I feel like it might be going back to the ambiguity of gender roles. Now, at the
Mhm.
end of the day, right? If as a woman you decide that that's the role that you want to be in, as far as the main breadwinner and or the one who is out there sort of leading the relationship, if that's the way that you desire for it to go, it would make sense for the man to stay home and raise children, unless you want them to be raised by YouTube, social media, or I don't know, raising themselves. I mean, unless you can afford a nanny, you know?
Mhm.
But then again, you
Mhm.
don't necessarily know what the product that's going to be. And one thing that I've decided is I'm not going to play with my legacy. So,
Mhm.
yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like, if it works, then it works, who am I to judge because it's not my marriage?
Yes. And my thought about that is, wait a minute, where it go? So I personally would not have a problem with it because a question says currently there's a statistic showing that men are staying home as the main caregiver while still working from home. Okay, so he's still working.
Yeah, he's still working.
He's still working. So regardless, because I work from home. So if I had a kid and I work from home, that means I'm not taking care of my kid. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it because he's still working. Um, a man as a main caregiver, there's some like characteristics I think that yes would be beneficial, but once again, like Melissa said, here we go with gender roles. And depending on when you were born, also kind of determines how you feel about the gender roles. Me personally, I have a problem with me getting up every day, going to work, and then seeing somebody laying there still in the bed. I have a problem with that.
Interestingly enough, statistics have come out to show that since the advent of the modern feminist movement, the love the it's led to a decline in overall health of women. So, like, for example, an increase in issues with like the reproductive tract, like fibroids, uterine cancer, breast cancer, and all these different things. And of course, you can bring in an environmental aspect and lifestyle changes and things like that. But on a whole, I feel like our minds might be telling us one thing, but our bodies are telling us something else,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So at the end of the day, I don't want to give away too much, but a really good question that she brings up in this book to ask oneself is whether or not you're a woman with a career or whether you're a career woman. And those are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, a woman with a career, family comes first. And she may have different businesses. I'm not necessarily saying she walking around barefoot and pregnant. She can definitely be entrepreneurial and do exactly what it is that she feels called to do. But at the end of the day, her family comes first. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
a career woman, her career comes first, and then you find a man more, or her husband, in more of a situation where he is taking on more of that nurturer caretaker role. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So M. Flannery said, I love the idea of talking these things through. We don't have to agree, but I can respect your opinions as I expect you to respect my opinion.
Of course.
Absolutely. Because we're not going to agree with everything. We can't agree with everything. Why? Because our experiences are different. Our experiences dictate how we think about things and how we navigate through life. So you're right. It's no hard feelings here. We definitely will we respect one another's opinions.
And how boring would a salad be if it was only one thing?
Isn't that the truth? Now, Stephanie right here. She's talking about her ex relationship, and she said he couldn't deal with her having a degree and making more money. So that's why that one failed. Um, so M. Flannery, I'm really enjoying you being
Active, yes.
yes, really. It is a preparation process. The older women fell down on their job to teach the younger women.
I would like to add to that, if it's
Yes,
okay. I would like to
yes.
add to that. And I'm recognizing that the modern feminist movement didn't come out of nowhere. It didn't just come out of, thin air. It was as a result of what they were experiencing. So, like, for example, like the more authoritarian male role, the more, stereotypical one that would make most women cringe, like, oh, I don't want that. He's controlling the money. He giving you your little 25 cent to go get your lunch every day.
25 cents.
We both working, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, because of the bird cage that those women were in, when it came to teaching their daughters, they were like, you put your money first, you go to college, you get your degree, you be able to support yourself, don't depend on no man, all that kind of stuff. That's where that came from, right? Now, again, it goes back to the preparation process that M. Flownery, yes,
Flownery,
yeah, Flownery, that you're pointing to. And I feel like it wasn't necessarily, I feel like it wasn't intentional, but the results are what they are as a result. And I feel like the heart was in a right place, but you kind of have to look at where I heard somebody say it like this once: don't take advice from anybody if you wouldn't switch places with them in what you're taking advice on. So at the end of the day, I feel like the proof is in the pudding. And I guess Flournoy.
Flournoy.
Okay. Is that French?
Okay, because we totally butchered that, and I told you like I knew what it was. Like, no.
Thank you for breaking it down phonetically.
Thank you. So Stacy says, for me, one house, two incomes, our money. A house divided will not stand. Creditors don't care who it comes from. Isn't that the truth? It isn't that the truth. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that just a quick moment, because that goes back to sort of kind of him giving her an allowance, right, of her quarter. Okay, and she had to do all of that in the quarter. So obviously, like I said, this is a night she did something. This was something was at 1981. Yeah, I didn't know you can do that much for the quarter in 1981.
Nowadays, eggs is $14 for 60. So I don't know what they're making that work.
Okay, my goodness. I remember my granddad used to put a quarter on a letter he wanted to send, and he would tape it on there, and the postman would actually put a stamp on there. I remember a stamp being a quarter, but I didn't know you could get all of that for a quarter. But going back to the allowance thing and back to what Millie said and what Stacy says, one house, two incomes, our money. One house, two incomes, our money. Once again, going back to Flournoy, what they're saying is, what he said earlier was how people, the women were not prepared, right? But I also heard, have your own money. Have your own money. What if they leave and then leave you with nothing? You have your money on the side. And Stacy was like, creditors don't care who it comes from. So here we go with what happened to, things that may have happened to people, women in your family, and how they kind of like grandfather their experiences onto the next generation, and then it continues to carry on.
Now, I feel like, that doesn't mean within your marriage to not, and granted, single, never have been married, so, take it for, I definitely, lean more on Miss Wani for topics like this. And I feel like that goes back to singleness period, because, you're looking at, like, there's I believe that the divorce statistics that 1 in 2 marriages will end in divorce. And, when you see it from that perspective, the issue with marriage isn't marriage. The issue with marriage is singleness. So, what were you doing in your singleness to prepare for that marriage so that you can choose right? And so, for me, in my singleness period, I've been intentional about gaining skills that are monetizable and developing a way for me to be able to provide, because let's take it outside of the scenario where he leaves you. Let's
Mhm.
say it's a situation where whatever field he's in isn't able to continue to support the lifestyle that you guys desire. So if he can't do it, we just gonna be out on the street. So it's setting myself up as well to where, with or without his income, we're okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I like that. Creditors don't care who it comes from.
Mhm.
The bills are
And
due every month, on the month. You know what I'm saying?
says you have to understand where this thinking came from. The Europeans totally imported the sense of partnerism,
Paternal, paternalism.
paternalism. Women hunt, and it wasn't a big thing. Women hunted, and it wasn't a big thing.
Hmm. That's definitely an interesting perspective to bring up.
It is. It is because once again, I never thought of it like that. I never thought of it. Period. Who is this one?
Oh, that's my auntie. Hey, auntie. Hey, Aunt Leela.
Hey, Aunt Leela. They
Thanks for
have
coming
been
through. I know I called you
misunderstood.
a little bit
But I,
ago, so thank you for coming through.
she said, but I saw way too many women get left behind by successful men and had to chase them down for support. Well, and that's a story too.
Mm-hmm.
That is a real story because but you don't have to be successful. It don't have to be a successful man. It could be a blue collar man. You still have to chase him down for support.
Mm-hmm. Hence, during the singleness period, I've been intentional about making sure that with or without, you feel me?
Thank you. And because that was kind of instilled in you
Mm-hmm.
in a roundabout way. Yeah, you got to be able to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I was taught that as well, but at the end of the day, you have to decide how you're going to start your marriage. Preparing for the worst before it begins is
Yeah.
not the way to go.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree, but I still believe in having my own money. So we can have yours, mine, and ours.
It's interesting. I think my mom sent me a video from, I believe it's Steve Harvey, where he was, breaking down, I guess, the way that, finances, or a version of how finances can work in a marriage. So, joint accounts, and then, his and hers, to where,
Mhm.
the things that you guys need to maintain jointly are being maintained jointly, but you're not in a situation where, hey, can I, may I, to where you're now his child or one of the people that, you got to beg for something, you know what I'm saying? But, he doesn't necessarily have to check back and ask you if he wants to buy something. You don't necessarily have to check in with him if you want to buy something, as long as you have enough within your own account to be able to afford what it is, so that you have a level of autonomy. But then again, we have traditional male and female roles. But
Mhm.
then again, when two people come together, that's where you sit down and discuss what you want that to look like.
Mhm.
Because nothing's going to be cookie cutter.
Exactly. And that's why I think this is like very important. And I'm gonna oh, hold on. I want to put the link in because we're gonna be on here probably like another 10 minutes. But if you guys want to come on and say anything and have your piece, I mean whatever you want to say about the forward and what we've talked about so far. Remember, the book is called Getting to I Do. uh there it is, Getting to I Do, and it's by Dr. Patricia Allen. I'm going to put the link in my in my community tab, because I can't put it here. Did you send it to me?
Mm-hmm. I sent it to a text message. Also, a link to my channel as well.
It's
I
also
started
in my
it.
community tab.
I started it today. I have 4 subscribers. Hopefully, I'll have more. You know, get my family wrangled into it.
And so, I want to put the link here so you guys can come on if you have something that you want to say. And because I want this to be very interactive, I want this to be helpful to not only us, because we're never too old to learn, but the mere fact that Miss Melissa came to me and asked me about this with her, I was very honored, because a lot of times, younger people don't want to, kind of be with older people like that. But luckily, my daughter and her friends like me because I'm kind of cool like that.
Not kind of. Don't downplay it. Also,
Okay.
my channel is my name, so Melissa Ingrid Lawrence.
Yes, Melissa Ingrid Lawrence. And so I'm going to put that in here. So I put the link in, you guys. So if you want to come up, say anything. Let me see.
She said jokingly, I was spending everybody money.
What happened?
Designs and Style with Stacy said jokingly, I was spending everybody money.
You're spending everybody, girl. Me too. me too. So am I. So we're gonna come back on next Thursday. That way we figure everyone. You are welcome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're going to come back next Thursday. And so we're going to be discussing what chapters 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, chapters 1 through 3. We're going to do 3 chapters a week.
Mm-hmm.
And after on Monday, we'll be posting chapter questions. So you guys are going to be able to get them on Monday. That way we can be prepared for discussion on Thursday. I talked to Ms. Wani and I was like, should we do it after or before, or should we just kind of spring the questions on them? And she was like, don't be springing nothing on nobody. Give them a chance to look at the questions.
Think about it. We older. We need to marinate on our responses.
That, as well as we're both going to be contributing questions that we personally had or we think that you guys would have as a result of reading it, as well as just different things. That way we can have a lively discussion the way that we had it tonight.
Yes, and I really want you guys to come on screen so we can really delve into it and talk about what she says. How do we think that it is pertinent to like today? Some of the things that tips and that she discussed, do you think they would be effective today in today's dating? And if I'm not out there, but I'm gonna try some of this on the mister, because like I said, we've been married with almost 20 years. I can throw something new in there to let him, he don't know what he's working with. So you have him magnetized and don't know how it happens all over again. We're going to see if Miss Patricia Allen's, if these techniques work, because she has a really good success rate. And so,
Hopefully he's not watching, you gotta spring it on him.
yeah, hopefully. So I just want to, and so with these techniques, Flournoy, we're gonna get you. I'm gonna have your name.
Flournoy.
Yes,
Flournoy.
We're gonna see if this can actually work with Black, as you brought it up. We're gonna see if it's can trans what is it trans? What's the word I want to say? Transcend. Yes, girl. I want to say transgender. Transcend. I call it like trans, because we want to see if it can transcend color lines. And I do like reading the forward. I just thought the forward was so interesting. Here's Stephanie.
Oh yes. So the link.
Hello, ladies.
Yes.
Hey, Stephanie, lady, how you doing?
I am great. How are you ladies doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us. Stephanie always showing up. Her and Stacy and Tori, they always gonna show up for you, girl. I really appreciate you.
Miss Wani,
Well,
can I
V
answer
told
that
me.
question?
Oh, wait a minute. This camera's on.
Wait, hold on, Stephanie.
Girl, I'm
What you
setting up
say?
a camera for my mom.
Oh, hold on, Stephanie. What you said,
Okay.
Melissa?
There's 2 questions here, and I want to answer those just before so that it doesn't get lost in the chat. So the
Which
first
question?
one is this is going to be good. Where will the questions be? Miss Wani is going to be posting it in her community tab on Monday.
Stop that.
And then as far as the book, there's the link that you'll also be posting so that you guys can go straight to it and purchase it there.
Mm-hmm. And it's not expensive. The book is really cheap.
Like $8.
Just $8. And you said there was another question?
Oh, those were the 2 questions.
Girl, this boy.
Okay, go ahead, Stacy. I mean, not Stacy.
Well, Wani
Yes,
V told me
Amazon.
about her daughter being on your show tonight. I want to be here to be supportive.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And I have enjoyed what I've heard so far. I'm waiting for the rest. It's just drawing me in to see what she has to say about how she, became a better person to be, to find a husband.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested in that. You made some good points in it, and I'm really liking it so far.
Oh, good. I think you are really going to enjoy it. And like we said, from the how we're going to do it, this will probably be the most reading that will be happening. We're really going to discuss, what her thoughts were and things that she implemented. So I do believe that you are going to enjoy it. And like already, like I've gotten through I'm starting chapter 1, but I have been just enthralled in it. I was told Melissa, I started reading it and I was in the bathroom and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so good. So y'all know I had my wine right here. So I'll be going into the bathtub and we're gonna start this because it is really good. I love the way she writes, and so I think it's gonna be a real easy read.
Something to add is that she doesn't just tell, she shows. And I guess like similar to the Bible, it's not like you need to do this, you need to do that. You read from other people's experiences and then you're able to figure out who do you want to be. So it's one of those things where like she'll actually share testimonials of people that she's worked with and the methods that they used, how it's been working, how it hasn't been working. So the same way that she was spilling the tea on herself, let's just say the stories are good. I was in bed curled up like this reading it, and I don't know about y'all, but I've been told I can be a granny, so I go to sleep at like 8-9 o'clock, so we're almost near my bedtime. But I was up near 1 o'clock in the morning reading this book. I had to be like, girl, go to sleep. It's gonna be here in the morning. Go to sleep.
Yes. Thank you, Stacy. We really appreciate it. Yes. So everybody can tag along.
Yes, thank you.
Then this is my girl, Tori. She says she's not sure she wants to get married again. Girl. You know what? I know so many of my friends who were single, who were married, and who are single, and some of them want to be married again. Some of them have gotten married again, and they have been very, very successful. And I think that reason is because the first time around probably wasn't what they should have had. This time they now know what they're looking for. When you didn't know what you wanted, you're not the same person. So now you know what you're looking for in the mate. I think if once you give yourself a little bit more time, because you still new, I think you're gonna be okay. I think you'll be back out there.
Oh, and then M. Flournoy.
Please post the link of the book.
Okay.
Huh?
I texted you.
You texted to me? Okay. Hi, V.
Girl, I'm just here being nosy. I ain't got nothing to add to it.
You know what? Get off my screen. I don't know what to do with her.
I'm loving the support. I'm glad I got my mommy over here holding me down.
Yes, yes. So I'm going to, let me take.
But according to Miss Patricia Allen, her advice in this book can get you married in a year. So, you know, and I think it'd be cool as we're going through this book. There are things that I've been even implementing in my own dating experience, and it'll be cool, especially for some of the singles in here or people who are married as well, implementing some of these techniques to post what your results have been. To, you know, let Dr. Patricia Allen know, you know, if her advice does transcend race.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to add this on here from my phone. Can you send it to me in an email?
Yes, I can.
And then it'll be easier for me to paste it. Yes. Just, I hear you. I never been married, wanted to before, and now have zero interest in marriage. Selfish. Oh my goodness. I think, you know, it's usually you hear that backwards, because I've heard people say, I never wanted to be married. And then as they got older, they wanted to be married. And now, yeah, you're like, you wanted to, but now you're like, mm-mm. And it could be also because if you've been dating out there, and a lot of my single friends, they were like, girl, ain't nothing out there. It's hard. It's hard out here. And I was like, oh my goodness, because if you're from our generation or whatever the case may be, I don't understand how the dating thing goes now. Nobody really talks to each other. Everybody texting, and you know, the whole meeting people online, and you know, and I always think people could be whoever they want to be online. Then you find out they're not who you thought they were. So you know, it's just different. So I could understand, you know, being kind of selfish right now, and it's kind of being, you have to be very protective and selective. And even when you're selective, you can still make it still be wrong. Let's see. Experience washes out compromise every time. Every time. Yes, that is a very good statement.
Very well.
Every time. Mm-hmm. Let me see. Many of us just don't have good teachers in our arsenal. You propose an awesome opportunity to teach women to be wives or be single with authority.
Because
Mm-hmm.
interestingly enough, you know, when you look at some of the biblical representations of marriage and wives and the way that they show up, everybody talking about the Proverbs 31 woman. But when you look at the Proverbs 31 woman, it says she inspects the field and pays for it out of her own earnings. It didn't say she inspected the field and then went to her husband to ask him for money to buy it. She was making her own money.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how we just kind of tend to overlook these things, but it's interesting how many things we follow that actually aren't really biblical. So M Flournoy, hit us with all the questions you got. I want to see you every single book club.
Every single book club. Yes. So V Leela. Now you don't what V said about Leela. Now you don't want to, it's going to come get you. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? That she's gonna, all the old traditional ways we thought to meet somebody, that's who's gonna come knocking at her door. What she's accustomed to. This new dating thing, y'all. I don't know about that, but yeah, you need to come to me. What I'm familiar with. You said, I'm here for it. Okay, because we gonna be right here. We are enjoying this. So we thank you. We thank you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end this because, like Miss Melissa said, we 8 minutes past her bedtime. And I am getting ready to go to bed. I have a busy day tomorrow. So I am, look at that one right there. Get out. I want to thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday at 7 o'clock, same time next Thursday. We're going to be discussing chapters 1 through 3. and you'll hear it, the thoughts of it from a Gen X perspective as
Gen
well.
Z, technically.
Who, you?
Yeah, I'm Gen Z.
I'm talking about me. I'm Generation X.
Oh, I thought you pointed at me.
No,
But
that was me. Generation X. I went first because I'm the eldest. Generation X, and the perspective of someone dating who is a Gen Zer.
And again, the link to my YouTube channel is going to be on Miss Wani's community. Please.
It's also posted.
And also post it in the chat
It's in
as
the
well
chat.
as the link for the book as well. You know, we about to have fun. I'm so excited.
Yes, thank you so much, M. Flanor. I'm gonna practice your name, so when we see you next Thursday, I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna have it. Yes.
And hey, who knows? Who knows? You know, keep up with me on my channel. Y'all might see me get married by the end of the year if what Miss Patricia Allen has to say is actually working.
She has been saying that all night. She said 9 months, y'all. We do it in 9 months. I'm scared.
I'm trying to get China and Jordan on this too. There might be a couple weddings.
Oh my goodness. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And we will see you next Thursday.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye.